Jake, an aspiring young actor, is in a play where, during rehearsals, strange things start happening to him when it's only a matter of time before opening night. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood presents.
Are we still afraid of the dark?
Question. And I kind of forgot what we were recording, so I kind of sounded a little more enthusiastic than you. Hi, guys. It's another episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Podcast. Are we still afraid of the dark?
We can't call ourselves Are You Afraid of the Dark? We will be sued by Nickelodeon.
I don't think they care.
They probably don't.
Anyway, we took last week off.
Mm-hmm.
Poor planning on our part, I think.
It happens.
But we're back with another episode.
Yeah.
Don't you fear, we're not going to take another 10 months off quite yet. You know?
Yeah.
We gotta get
even shorter season this time around if we would cut it off.
This week, we're doing episode 10 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of Jake and the Leprechaun, which originally aired on October 17th of 1992 in the U.S., which is basically this week.
That will be the day this episode goes out.
What?
That's crazy. We didn't even plan it like that.
See, you know, that's why we took last week off.
Exactly.
We wanted to make sure it was on schedule with
Just
it being...
ignore the fact that I said we didn't even plan it. We totally planned it.
JK.
Yeah.
JK.
JK and Jake and the Leprechaun. Oh, God.
Okay. Anyway, so this episode was an Eric story, which I feel like that might be the first Eric story. I don't know.
So. And they tell us the only reason he's doing this story is because his grandfather passed away.
Yeah, which is a complete downer at the beginning of the episode.
Just bring it into the toilet.
When Gary says, usually Frank would be telling the story tonight, but we made an exception. And I was like, what is going on? And then they're like, Eric's grandfather died, and he wanted to honor him by telling him one of the stories that his Irish grandfather used to tell him.
Yeah.
So that's where this story is based. Do you want to start with our first category?
Yeah, our first category is called Well, Hello There.
Well, hello there.
Where we talk about any famous or recognizable actors or actresses that were in the episode that we didn't know about.
It was a very small cast, I would say. Having the plot the way it is, the first person is the main character, Benjamin Planer, who, fun fact, his brother played one of the main characters in The Tale of the Twisted Claw.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's two boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
But was in a couple of things, including the Goosebumps TV series.
I saw that.
And he did a voice for Sailor Moon when they revoiced it for the American version, which I loved as a young child.
What do you mean? As a young? You still love that show.
Well, I can't find the one that existed, like on Cartoon Network.
Oh, okay.
Like the one that's on Hulu is the dubbed version.
Yeah.
Like the original Sailor Moon. I can't find the one that I love, but mostly, and the only reason I think I love it just a little more is the theme song.
Yes.
Because it doesn't exist in the one on Hulu, which is quite sad.
Your reaction when you showed me my first episode of Sailor Moon to the theme song was quite funny, because you're like, this isn't it.
Yeah. I had to YouTube it.
Yeah.
If anybody's a fan of Sailor Moon and you watched it as a child on Cartoon Network, you know what I mean. You know the theme song.
Yeah.
Anyway, who was your first one?
My first one is Lucy. She kind of plays a stagehand for this play. Her name is Jennifer Seguin, and she does some voices. She did some voices for Assassin's Creed video games, and also Kaleu, the cartoon.
I don't know. That's how you say it.
Okay.
Kaleu? I don't know.
I don't know.
We're not parents. I just know it's from everything I've heard on the internet, it's annoying as fuck.
Okay.
And parents don't like it.
All right. Fair enough. I've never watched it.
Me either.
Okay.
The next one is David Steinberg plays Sean O'Shaney, which is a weird name. Just because the alliteration, Sean O'Shaney.
Yeah.
Sean O'Shaney. Anyway, he was actually in Willow.
Yes.
And he was in an episode of Charmed.
Mm-hmm.
And an episode of Ugly Betty.
Oh, okay.
So.
I saw he was in Willow, and I was like, okay, you've been in something there, sir.
Yeah, when I saw him on screen, I was like, I've definitely seen him before. Mm-hmm. Who was your next one?
My next one was the character of Aaron. Mm-hmm. He was played by John Dunhill, and he was actually in 300 and Secret Window with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
So he's had...
some high-end acting credits.
Yeah, and especially, like, it wasn't miscellaneous crew, which we seem to run across a lot.
Which just means they added something to the movie, but who knows? Yeah.
But he was in some legit movies.
Like, he actually had character names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. That's all I had.
There's just one other character. His name was Carl. He played the goblin during that open scene. His name is Frayne McCarthy. And his big acting credit was in a movie called Warriors with Gary Busey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
what year did that come out?
I think 94.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you want to move on?
Yes.
The next category is called Let's Get Digging, where we talk about the plot and the plot holes. And we name our funniest and cringiest moments of the episode. Mm-hmm. So... we kind of already touched on that this was Eric's turn to tell a story, and obviously he wants to honor his Irish grandfather, so he wears a leprechaun hat.
Talks with a bit of an Irish accent.
A little bit. Not too bad.
Yeah,
Not too bad. Jacob Tierney. Basically, the whole episode is about Jake, who is an actor in a play about a boy who was saved by a leprechaun from a goblin. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like foreshadowing what is going to happen in the real plot of the episode.
Yeah, it was very meta.
Yes,
if you want to call it that.
Kind of. It was there was things happening, but yeah, there's definitely like the play plot, and then what was actually happening aside from the play.
Yeah,
and basically he just doesn't think he's a good actor, so his co-actor / director, I guess, they never really fully explain, but he does seem to bark out orders, so he seems to be in charge. Aaron.
Yeah. Maybe it's just he's such a established actor that they allow him to kind of direct his own scenes a little bit.
But there's no director. That's
true. Well, Lucy's kind of more... yeah, she's more of a stagehand.
Yeah, she's like a co-director or assistant or something.
Yeah.
He's drinking something out of what is that bag called? Like a flask bag? I don't know. There's a word for it, because even Sean says it later.
Ooh,
when he tells him not to drink out of it.
It's like a fancy canteen.
Yeah, it's like an old school like leather pouch one.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, or he has like a special tea.
Yeah.
Brought to him. So then Jake's like, if I have that special tea, maybe I'll become a better actor like him. But I'm like, is it tea or is it just like whiskey or something?
It was
my first initial reaction.
It was an herbal tea.
Yeah. But wink.
Wink, wink. And yeah, that concoction, that makes you grow some pointy ears.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into, obviously.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the plot overall?
I think at first I thought it was kind of neat because I didn't realize it was a play at first. Like when they're the very first scene, I was like, okay, that's kind of neat. And then how the play kind of foreshadows like the changes that Jake would be undergoing.
Right.
I thought that was kind of neat. I was a little confused by it at times.
I was too at first, but I think at the end of it, I feel like it did wrap it up a little nicer than some of the other episodes that we've watched. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still was left with questions, as we're coming to find out is something that happens a lot because there's only so much time that they can explain stuff.
Yeah.
What about any plot holes you wanted to discuss?
I'm always just a little confused. Where is his parents? Your child now has pointy ears. You don't know.
Oh, like at one point in the middle of it's like before their opening night.
Yeah.
So he never goes home though. It's solely set. There's two settings. There's the play house or the theater, and then the garden.
Yeah.
Where he meets Sean.
Yes.
So yeah, there's no like, I'm going home with pointy ears, but he does rock a beanie at one point, so maybe he just did that for the night.
That's a good point. I just thought he was switching up his hat.
Oh. No, it's...
So now I'm like, that makes sense. He would wear a beanie.
Yeah, he puts on a beanie after Sean points out that he has pointy ears. Mm-hmm. And right before they're going to break into Aaron's... dressing room. He's wearing a beanie.
That makes... Now, at the time, I was just like, oh, he's switching it up. Now it makes sense.
Sometimes I wonder, do you actually have plot holes, or is it just you not paying attention? Which happens to me a lot, too.
No, it doesn't. You're so much better at me at finding plot holes.
I think it's harder. I mean, I think it's easier doing movies that I have some familiarity with. Whereas, like, some of these episodes I don't remember. No. Or it's been, obviously, this is, 28 years old? To the day, sort of. That, I don't have any, like, vivid memories of them. So it's like watching them almost for the first time.
Because also, I would catch the episodes so sporadically. I'm sure there's ones I haven't seen. Right.
Because, again, I don't know if we've said it on here, but we've said it in our movie podcast, in the 90s, you either were sitting down in front of your TV, or if you were smart enough to record it on a VHS tape. But usually, if you didn't catch it live, you didn't catch it at all. No. Maybe in a rerun. You mentioned last week, right? Or the week before, sometimes they would show them in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So
Nick in the afternoon.
Yeah. But as far as plot holes, the only real plot hole I had was at the end. I felt it was a little rushed that Sean is defeating Aaron, or as we come to find out, his real name is Gort. Which is not surprising. It's not surprising. We're 10 episodes into this podcast, and the names on Day, Goth.
Goth, yeah.
Oh. So Gort, not a shocker. But they obviously have some history, and he defeats them by pulling a snake.
But it looked like a stuffed animal snake.
It looked rubber. It was obviously like fake. Yeah. I think it was meant to be to look real. I don't know. It was hard to tell, and they were kind of talking so fast. I don't know what he really meant. If that was like Gort's possession before, and then he like threw it at him, and then he was dead.
Then he turned in. Didn't he turn into a frog?
No, that was Jake.
Oh, that's Jake. See, this is me. God. This is me.
I hope somebody's listening to this going, Jesus, Ryan. Why do I even listen to this podcast? The whole like the changelings, they turn into frogs. He like sucks their souls out. The Banshee. Do you know who the Banshee is?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just checking.
I do.
Who is the Banshee, Ryan?
Aaron.
Okay. And what is his real name?
Gort.
Okay. Just checking. We're watching the same episode.
Yeah.
You were sitting right next to me.
Yes, I was.
So yeah, just the whole rush at the ending where he defeats him, where you obviously think he was a frog. He just disappeared.
Yeah. I just confused the two because somebody else turned into a frog.
Like 2 seconds earlier, too. It was a lot to unpack in the last couple minutes of the episode, so I guess I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Did you have any other plot holes?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Did you?
I mean, not really, no.
Okay.
Because I think like some of them were explained, so it's like when I was writing it down, it might have been a plot hole, but then it was explained later, so it's not a plot hole anymore.
I feel like that happens a lot on this. I'll start typing one out, and then 5 minutes later, I'm like, well, that's not a plot hole anymore.
Yeah.
We just go ahead and delete this.
I don't have a funniest part of the episode.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a scene where Jake and Aaron are doing, I think that's their last rehearsal, and Sean goes to the theater, and he tries to like disturb the rehearsal, so he undoes like a rope that is holding up a tree. It's just a wooden tree. It's
not a real tree.
Yeah, it's a
prop
background piece. And when he does it, it starts to fall, and Jake does this over-the-top dive onto the ground. And then when he goes over to Sean, he's like, "You almost killed me." I'm like, it's a piece of wood, man.
He's a tiny child, though.
But it also didn't come anywhere near him.
I like that part in the sense that when he did fall, there was just a random guy that came up and picked him up and set him up like he couldn't get him himself.
We gotta get you back upright, man.
Yeah. It was just some random guy that swooped in, picked him up, put him down. I had a cringy part, at least.
Oh, me too.
We might have the same one.
I don't know. What is yours?
Like, right after that, Sean has made Jake realize that whatever's happening during the play is like some sort of ritual that Aaron is doing. And they go to his dressing room because I think Sean, like, he wants to make sure that's what he's thinking is happening, but he wants to, like, have evidence. And they get into the room. Aaron comes in, so they hide under the bed, and he is obviously not a human being. He looks like a human being, and then he takes off his ears, takes off his robe, and he has this, like, just weird random patch of hair on his back, and I was like, eee.
Okay, we had the same one.
It was just really, like,
the hairiest back I've ever seen.
But it was, like, almost like a mane.
Yeah.
Like, it was concentrated in the center, which...
Yeah. It wasn't normal back hair where it just looks like hair on somebody's arms or legs. It looked like the hair on a good person's head, on their head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they just glued a wig on his back.
They took one of Moira's wigs
from Schitt's Creek.
It's in Canada.
That's true.
Hey, there you go.
Except for you're talking about a show that was made like 20 years later.
Mere details.
Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay.
I'm ready to move on to the next category.
Woo, woo.
Red flag alert. What were the sign that this kid, not these kids, because there was only one this time, is about to just be a statistic in a ghost story?
This might be one of our first episodes where there's literally only one kid.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Usually there's a couple.
Yeah. Sometimes it's exclusively kids.
That's true. It's happened.
Yeah.
This one had a couple, but the first one was definitely when Jake goes to the garden to see if they have these ingredients for this herbal tea, which he thinks is going to make him a better actor for some reason. He meets Sean, and Sean looks at the list, and he's like, what the fuck, man? Obviously, this is not something that a child should be drinking,
And Sean was offended.
Yeah, he, like, said a pox.
Yeah.
He used the word a pox to tell the kid how angry he was. He's like, a pox on you, which is something I've only ever heard in, like, Shakespearean plays, so.
I don't know that I've ever heard it.
Well, you're not good with your Shakespeare.
This is true.
But he's very angry at it. But it doesn't make sense to me in the sense he's obviously just a little kid and, walked into this garden with this page, this recipe.
A recipe for...
He's not trying to do anything nefarious with it.
Yeah, and he just thinks he's in there getting the ingredients to get an herbal tea that this actor he looks up to drinks.
That's true.
It's going to make him Robert De Niro.
But right then, he should have been like, that's weird. Why would this man be so angry? Because I just want some herbs, man.
Yeah, I'm just here trying to get some oolong. That was not on the list.
No. What was yours?
This was something I've never seen before. A leprechaun is making you drink spiders.
Yes.
That, no, nope.
It would have been red flag, but I think Sean has established that he's a good person and that he is here to help Jake. But it could have been a twist ending. It could have been like he was the one that wanted to turn him into a leprechaun. Or to a changeling.
There's no circumstance that I can think of where I'd be willing to drink a spider.
He had to be brave. He told them you have to be brave. And he's like, okay.
I would be like, I'm not brave, man. I apologize. It ain't happening.
I think just going into the dressing room of the guy who you've come to find out is actively trying to suck your soul out is probably not the best idea. And also when you go in there and there's like a shrine to you, there's your picture surrounded with candles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why are you even still doing this play? Don't do the play.
That's a turn around and get out moment right there. Oh, there's a shrine to me. I'm out.
Sean said basically he's using this play as a way to suck the soul out of children. So by saying the lines that he says and drinking whatever's in that bag, it's kind of confusing. It's not turning him into a leprechaun. It ends up turning him into a toad. So that's very confusing.
That is confusing.
Yeah.
And the transformation required you getting pointy ears.
Yeah. And frogs don't have ears.
Not that I'm aware of.
That's a plot hole.
Plot hole.
Yeah. Again, a red flag alert is saying somebody have a shrine to you in a way.
Yeah.
Like an altar of some sorts. It's just...
I would have been doing the nah, bro, and just moonwalking out of a room.
Exactly. Did you have any other red flag alerts?
Mm-mm.
I'm good, too.
Okay, I'm good.
The next category is called When Was This Made Again? A reminder of everything 90s. And I will say there's not a whole lot of references, a little bit of fashion, but not any technology. So this is going to be a quick category.
Right off the bat, I usually don't include the Midnight Society in my critique of fashion. Sometimes I do, but I usually don't. But Eric, who was our storyteller, was wearing a dark denim jacket. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, that's really fashionable even for now.
Yeah.
Like, that was something you could wear outside and nobody would think you're stuck in 1992.
That's true.
So I was like, nice fashion choice there, bud.
He's in mourning. So
yeah.
He's wearing the dark denim instead of the light.
He's got his funeral denim on.
Is that a Canadian thing?
Hey, they wear the Canadian tuxedos.
That's true. Because this episode is centered around a play, that the play is set in a different time setting. So they're kind of wearing like old-timey clothes, like something from like the 1700s. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of fashion other than at one point when Jake and Sean are sneaking into Aaron's room. I said Eric. Mm-hmm. Aaron's room. He is wearing a hoodie t-shirt, which I know you had. Oh,
I had quite a few. I thought it looked pretty sweet in them.
It was pretty awesome. That was about it. There wasn't anything too crazy.
He, during another scene, was wearing a polo shirt that was quite possibly 47 sizes too big.
That's true.
It was really huge. And Lucy, our stagehand, at one point was rocking a side pony.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which was very much of the time.
It was.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else for this category?
Just for technology.
Okay.
To lure Aaron out of his dressing room, Sean and Jake hold his little pipe up to a smoke detector to set it off. I was like, that's kind of neat. And a piece of technology that I don't think we've ever talked about.
That's true.
The old smoke detector.
Because it's so riveting.
It is.
I feel like that's something that happens in TV shows and movies. I don't know if that's like a thing. If I were to take a match to would it do it? I don't want to find out.
The one that I know wouldn't work is when you see in the movies when they do the lighter up to a sprinkler, fire sprinkler. Okay. And it'll like set off the sprinklers for the entire building.
Yeah.
Like in real life, it just does that sprinkler.
Because the sprinkler can it detect that?
It'll detect the heat, but it'll only set off that one sprinkler.
Oh.
So it doesn't ruin an entire building. It would just hit that one spot.
That's true. Good plot hole.
Yeah.
In movies.
Not
in this episode.
In Die Hard.
Yeah. Should we move on?
Yes. As always, Ruining Our Childhood presents Are We Still Afraid of the Dark? We give out 2 awards every week, the first of which is the Kel Mitchell Award for Exceptional Overacting. Whom did you give your award to?
I gave my award to Benjamin Pleener as Jake because his acting was just okay. There's a couple times where he had to scream and it wasn't the best. And he was kind of just overacting. And he just kind of looks like a poor man's JTT.
Okay. I cannot disagree with you. Because I also gave my award to Benjamin Pleener. And yeah, his acting was not great. When he finds out he has pointy ears, it was pretty weak screaming.
Yeah.
And I do like your comparison to the legendary JTT. But yeah, I thought he was the definition of this award. Exceptional overacting.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on?
Yes.
The next award is the Kenan Thompson Award for just doing the best under the circumstances. Who did you give your award to?
I gave mine to David Steinberg, who played Sean. Obviously, there's not a lot to choose from in the episode, but I thought he was pretty fun to watch, and he was not so cringeworthy. I thought he did a good job of actually guiding Benjamin a little bit during these scenes. You could tell Benjamin wasn't the best actor, and I thought he did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I ended up giving it to John Dunhill, who plays Aaron / Gort.
Gort.
Yeah.
Come on. You should remember these awesome names.
Because I thought he did bring a little credibility to the fact that he actually is from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's from Glasgow, actually. So, is that Scotland or Ireland?
Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay, so he's Scottish, not Irish.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a banshee who's lying about his whole identity, so it kind of works.
I will say he definitely showed some range, because he doesn't just, he turns into different characters.
Yeah,
and
he's jolly in the first part of before you realize that he is a bad guy. When he discovers that Jake knows during the live play, he doesn't take a swig of the stuff. He just throws the bag at him and he's like, "Who have you been talking to?" And it was kind of creepy.
That's a good point.
And then he shows himself and turns into the banshee, which he kind of does look like the guy who was playing the goblin in the very beginning of the play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just thought his acting was good, and he was good at being like this jolly old man that you feel like you can trust, and then it kind of shifts into this like creepy old man that you shouldn't trust.
He reminds me of Bilbo Baggins from the first Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He's like this, can be jolly and fun, but then, like you said, he gets a little scary.
And he has hairy feet too.
Hairy feet? That's a good point. He is a hobbit.
Well, no, he's a banshee, Ryan.
I know.
It's a totally different type of magical being. Get it together. So, now comes to the end of our episode where we decide if this episode gets a Betty Ann enthusiastic thumbs up or a reluctant Eric thumbs up.
Obviously, the story was told by Eric,
yeah.
So it makes sense. I would give him his own thumbs up. I was not a fan. It wasn't the worst episode. I liked the meta-ness of it. It was a little confusing at times, so I'm going to give it the reluctant thumbs up. It was on the verge of a Betty Ann, though.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think I'm going to give it a Betty Ann because, first of all, I was afraid of leprechauns when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So if I'm factoring in if this episode would have scared me as a child, this definitely would have, because I watched the movie Leprechaun way too young. So leprechauns have always given me the heebie-jeebies because of that, even when they're happy and jolly and cute. Even though I know the actual hero of the story is a leprechaun. But just the fact that a person's like slowly poisoning you to change you and to suck your soul, that's creepy, and that would have freaked me out as a kid and probably made me not want to trust any older person ever.
I will agree with you. If I had watched this as a child, this probably would have gave me a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think as far as like Midnight Society goes, it did have a good baseline of why they were telling the story. It was a little different from all their other stories because of that fact that it was his grandfather's story who had passed away.
Yeah.
So I gave it a little more heart. I think because for those reasons, I would give it an enthusiastic Betty Ann.
I wish I had asked you first, because you totally swayed me. Because I agree with like the heart of the story.
You're so easily swayed.
I am. But it did have some heart to it, and I agree with you on I would have had nightmares, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan. Okay.
Thank you for listening, guys. We appreciate you making us part of your week, and we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, and if you have a moment, head over to Apple Podcasts and review and rate us, because we need some more.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot on this podcast, specifically.
And also, if you're feeling courteous, you could head over to ruiningourchildhood.com and join the Ruiners Club and get some bonus-odes.
Yeah. We did Boy Meets World last week. It was fun.
Next week, Hocus Pocus.
For our movie bonus-ode.
Yeah, so check it out.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and have a good week, guys.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.